Mother Mary herself was born this way, parthenogenetically, or, in virgin fashion from her mother Anne. Jesus wasn't the first one. She was a divine birth priestess, part of a lineage. She cultivated this and she planned the whole advent of the Christos to the planet. She taught Jesus in the womb. She was his greatest teacher and soulmate. She not only divinely conceived and gave birth to Jesus, but she was able to resurrect his scattered pieces of his soul at the crucifixion through her womb and bring him back to wholeness. And that was the resurrection. She was a healer. We could call her an exorcist. She knew how to help others open their consciousness. She was able to ascend to full goddesshood, full connection with the divine. It was her final life, essentially, of many lives on the planet where she was perfecting her soul.
Welcome to Howling at the Moon, where the mystical meets the practical, and the canine spirit guides lead the way. I'm your host, Heatherleigh Strom. In 2022, I experienced a sudden, life-changing spiritual awakening. After a lifetime of struggling with, who am I and why am I here? For 5 decades, the world felt cold and confusing. Now I see the patterns, the purpose, and the bigger magical picture. My mission? To help you find your way through your own awakening journey. Here, you'll discover limitless possibilities for spiritual growth, powerful healing frequencies, and extraordinary energetic professionals, each designed to guide you into deeper healing and remembrance. Some episodes feature enlightening wisdom from spiritually evolved guest healers, visionaries, and authors. Others are led by the multidimensional canine spirit guides themselves, sharing their unique intergalactic wisdom and frequency. If you've been craving deeper truth, multidimensional healing, and a little cosmic magic, you've just found your pack. Listen and watch on Spotify or YouTube and bring the magic back into your life. Welcome to Howling at the Moon. I'm your host, Heatherleigh Strom, and today we have a special guest, Marguerite Mary Rigoglioso. Marguerite has a PhD and she is the founder of Seven Sisters Mystery School. She is also the foremost authority on virgin birth. And she's an award-winning author of several books, including the one we'll talk about today, The Secret Life of Mother Mary, and I highly recommend reading it. And another book she's written is The Mystery Tradition of Miraculous Conception, and I can't wait to read that one. Her work has really touched my soul and awakened new aspects of myself that I never knew existed. So I'm really excited to welcome her here today to the show. Welcome, Marguerite. I am so excited to share with you today and to learn all of your wisdom about the magical Mother Mary. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Heatherleigh. Really appreciate being here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're just going to be diving head first. So you guys, we've decided not to discuss her origin story, her awakening story. There's plenty of places for you guys to view that on the internet. You can read it in her book. It's an incredible story about how she got connected with Mother Mary. But we're going to go forward because we have so much to dig into. We're going to really take a look at the real Mother Mary, the Magdalenes, and Yeshua or Jesus. And we're just basically going to be diving into your life's work. I feel like, your book, The Secret Life of Mother Mary, basically.
Yeah. Wonderful.
So, yeah, it's going to be a really fun discovery and share with you. But before we got started, I wanted to share with you and with everyone else how I reacted when I saw you, when I met you, when I became aware of you and your work, because it blew me out of the water. I was watching Gaia, of course. And when you came on the program, I literally stopped everything. My eyes got big, and then my heart started to swell. I had this major somatic response, and I'm tingling all over right now. I had this major somatic response to what you were saying, and it resonated so deeply with me because, I grew up as a preacher's daughter, and I never ever bought into the church. I knew it wasn't true. In my heart and my soul, I absolutely knew that what they were trying to teach me was not truth. And so my whole life, I was trying to understand what the truth was. And when I saw your work on Mother Mary, I was blown out of the water. And I'm like, that's the truth I've been looking for. That's what I've always known was behind it all. So I was so excited to dig into your work. And I've
Oh,
read your book, and I like to spend time with the frequency of books. So that's why I listen to them on Audible, because I can really just vibrate in that frequency, and I can absorb it. It's just like my cells were just eating it up.
wow. Heather Leigh, that's exactly the response that I would love to hear from people. People have happening, experiencing about these revelations about Mother Mary. So thank you for sharing that. It's
Yeah.
because, we put our information out there, we just don't know who's being affected or how. And it's
Yeah.
lovely when the reflection comes back.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's amazing. So you guys hang on to your hats. If you're not familiar with her work, we're going to go in the polar opposite direction, probably, of what you expect, and just trust it and allow it, and just take what resonates with you and just leave the rest. I mean, it's a
That's
safe
right.
space. So just
Yeah.
like you say, and I quoted you on this yesterday in Facebook. What is the quote? The reality is in the eyes of the beholder.
That's
So
right.
it might be true for you, it might be true for me, but it might not be the true reality for someone else. And that's totally okay. So
Yeah.
that's the space we're holding today.
Yes, absolutely.
So where should we start? My
My
gosh, why don't you just begin by sharing with us? Let's just dig into who the real Mother Mary is. There's so much to understand about her.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so, first of all, what I'm going to say is material that actually is and has been available for hundreds of years. It just has been ignored, suppressed, whatever. But, as I explain in The Secret Life of Mother Mary, that book, and also the previous book, The Mystery Tradition of Miraculous Conception, there are
Yeah.
various sources where you can find references to Mother Mary in suppressed gospels as well as biographies about her, which is interesting, which were
Wow.
also based on suppressed gospels, some of which have probably been burned or lost to us. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just making this up, and I'm not just channeling it. There is grounded precedence for these things that I'm saying. And I think that's helpful and comforting to a lot of people because they want to feel like, well, okay, is there evidence anywhere for what she's saying? And there is. And it's so shocking how available it's been, but how ignored it has been. That all we pretty much were brought up with was this image of Mother Mary as a pale, meek girl,
Mm-hmm.
of like 13 or whatever, who didn't exactly know what was happening to her in the conception of Jesus, and then kind of disappears from the scene until maybe the wedding of Cana, when she's like, hey, Jesus, would you create some wine here? So, okay, so she's not much visible, but there is a whole gospel devoted to her infancy, her own divine conception by her mother Anne.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jesus wasn't the
Yeah.
first one, and
Right.
Mother Mary herself was born this way, parthenogenetically, or in virgin fashion from her mother Anne. And there's a whole gospel called the Infancy Gospel of James, which was originally called Birth of Mary, that that I analyze all of this information about Mother Mary. And so between that and the various biographies about her, what we learn is the following. Just give bullet pointed list, and we can go into any of these in a deeper way.
Okay.
She was, of course, a divine birth priestess, meaning she knew what was happening. She had been part of a lineage. She cultivated this, and she planned the whole advent of the Christos to the planet. She taught Jesus in the womb and afterward. She was his greatest teacher and soulmate, and that is according to the late Hindu saint Sri Kaleshwar, who gathered material about the sacred family and had past life recall of being with them. And that, I think, is a tremendous discovery, that she was the soulmate of Jesus. They were best friends, right?
Yeah.
And that she not only divinely conceived and gave birth to Jesus, but she was able to resurrect his scattered pieces of his soul at the crucifixion through her womb and bring him back to wholeness. And that was the resurrection. Okay.
Yeah.
She was a healer. She could heal ailments. She could remove negative spirits. We could call her an exorcist. She was a teacher of Magdalene and others, the whole sacred retinue, before, during, and after the resurrection. She was the main teacher. She was their mentor. She would send a lot of these teachers out to places in the known world, and they would all come back to her once a year, and she would kind of give counsel. And then she knew how to help others, open their consciousness. She did ritual. She held, ceremonies, if you will. And then at the end of her life, she did a remarkable thing, which is that she was able to ascend to full goddesshood, full connection with the divine. So it was her final life, essentially, of many lives on the planet, where she was perfecting her soul and understanding what it really means to be divine, to connect with one's divine template. And she did
That's
it.
amazing.
And in doing so, has made it easier for a lot of us to do that. So it's not like we have to sit here like, wow, well, that was a feat. I guess it'll take me 5 million lifetimes before I can ever do that. But no, like it's closer than a hair's breadth now, right?
Oh,
And
wow.
because she ascended into, a different ontological state, we might call it, as goddess, she is able to be present in a fractal fashion to everyone at the same time who calls on her. And we all might see her in a different way, a dramatically different way, or a slightly different way, according to what's meaningful to us. She will appear to us in the version that feels like Mary to us. Okay. And so she remains able to help us with our healing, with our spiritual development, and with our awakening, with our leadership on the planet as spiritual people who are going through these great awakenings. All right. So that's like a near comprehensive list of
Oh, wow.
some of the
I mean,
things she's been about and she still is about, and we can go into any one of them.
you just opened up a portal, basically, of who she is. Let's dig into her being an advanced soul, an advanced being. I mean, if I'm correct, she was born to Anna twice. Is that right?
Well, here's the thing about that. Actually, the way I understand it and have read it in these suppressed gospels is that Anne gave birth to 2 and possibly 3 girls, all of whom she ended up giving the name Mary. Now, while that sounds really bizarre, the idea here is that Mary was actually a title. It was a sacred title of a particular holy woman who cultivated or was cultivating the powers of the womb, the powers of the heart, and the powers of the sight. So her first birth was of Mother Mary, who then they gave to the temple at age 3 for further training. Bye Mary, no more little girl in their household. Then apparently she gave birth to another girl who the ancient texts say may originally have been named Parogita, which means little hen or pullet. So there are many symbolisms associated with the hen and what that represents. And then she eventually was given the name Mary as well. And it is said that Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene and this other Mary, her sister, right,
Yeah.
all walked with Jesus, almost like we could envision it a sacred triangle, if you will, a pubic triangle. Um, and they were very high level adepts. So both of Anne's Marys were high level adepts, and there might have been a third Mary as well. So
So let's define what an adept is, because that was always confusing to me.
well, an adept is somebody who is really developing spiritual qualities, and adepthood is a level of mastery, becoming a master, essentially, in the spiritual arts. And adept might be like a student on the way to mastery, but somebody who is really going in the direction of cultivating and perfecting these intense spiritual abilities that some of us may have little shards of or dream about or might not be interested in at all. But for these people, this is a life path. They want to begin, middle, and end with developing themselves to the hilt as spiritually awakened beings.
Wow. Is there anybody that's alive on this planet right now that you would consider an adept?
Well, yeah, there are probably numerous sacred saints in India, for example, and other countries like that who are in specific holy orders. Um, over the centuries, we've had different types of adepts. Some of them were the saints who were martyred and so forth. Mary Magdalene would have been considered one of these.
Yeah.
Um, perhaps Hildegard of Bingen was one such in ancient old Germany. But
Wow.
many spiritual teachers, the lineages of gurus in India and so forth. And, females, males, and so forth. Babaji, right? Sri
Oh,
Kaleshwar.
Babaji. Yeah.
Yeah, Sri Kaleshwar would have been considered one. Um, Sarada Devi, one of the women, different different beings like this.
But nobody in today's society.
Well, really good question. Let's tune in. No, undoubtedly there are, and they're
Okay.
probably quiet. They're probably quiet. They're probably in various
Off the grid.
off the grid in different
Yeah.
places. Um, there are probably these adepts in every country. We may or may not be hearing of them. They may or may not be public, but they're doing their work, not only for themselves, but they know they're putting a ripple in the pond of the world, and that their energies that they're perfecting are then affecting all of us, spreading, so to speak.
Right. So I think I interrupted you. Let's get back to Mother Mary and how she was actually an advanced adept.
Yeah, right. So again, Sri Kaleshwar, the late Hindu saint, said that she had had many lifetimes on the planet, many. And in each lifetime, she was learning, going through initiations, probably doing practices, maybe being born in different countries with different um, teaching lineages and so forth. And finally, then she had a very intensive birth by being divinely born of her mother. That brings the child to an adepthood that is truly remarkable. That brings in a very high vibrational being when they're not incarnated, they're not conceived the more human way, the more
Traditional.
natural,
Yeah.
traditional way, right?
So you're talking about Anne. You were talking about Anne giving birth to Mother
And
Mary.
gave birth to Mother Mary. And so Mother Mary already came in conferred with these major powers on top of what she was bringing in from her past life streams. And so put it all together, no wonder she was able to have this full ascension after her death. such that we now know her as Mother Mary, the goddess, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. But in her life, she was doing many, many things. She was healing people of leprosy. She was healing people of bladder ailments, eye ailments, getting rid of negative energies, all of this kind of thing, in addition to, of course, birthing Jesus and bringing him back to life.
There's
Okay.
that.
Oh, yeah. That love thing. Right. So,
Yeah, she
yeah.
had
I
her
mean,
own powers in addition to just giving birth to a powerful one, right?
that's right. She had her own powers that continued on through past the time of which Jesus most likely left the planet during that crucifixion resurrection event. Okay. She lived on. One of her gospels or biographies indicate she may have lived into her 80s. All
Mm.
right. So she had elderhood. Yeah.
Now, did
Ah,
she practice? What was the practice where the Essenes would not age? I can't remember what they called it. The
oh, right.
sepulcher.
Right.
Did she
That,
practice that?
that could, what could have been. I have never looked at that, but it is likely that she was going through various initiations. And as we know, as I know from like ancient Greece, there were these practices to engender longevity, almost an ageless quality.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I think that there were those technologies that were available on the planet for quite some time, maybe still are, in the very hidden recesses. And it doesn't
Yeah.
have to do with cryogenics or just, eating a lot of spirulina, although that
Science.
can help.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to do with science, injections and
Yeah.
Botox or anything, It really has to do with an inner rejuvenation practice, right? We see that in the
Yeah.
story of Pleiades, I think, who was boiled in water or the goat milk of a goat, and it was like a botched ritual
Oh.
to, yeah, he died in that ritual. Something went wrong, but it was supposed to be so that he could live another, several hundred years or whatever. So there were these renewal experiences, yes, and it could well be that this sacred family was engaged in that, or it could well be that they decided, okay, no, I'm going to live a limited life. I'm going to leave the planet at a certain time, and I'm going to be operating in the astral plane in a much bigger way than I could if I were walking on the planet
Mm-hmm.
continually.
Well, I found a lot of comfort in knowing that Mother Mary was a spiritual person. I'm not talking religious. I'm talking spiritual, the practice of meditation,
Yeah,
of yoga that we don't really, a type of yoga that we don't really understand in today's
yeah,
age, correct? I
yeah,
mean,
that's
and
right.
she was getting up at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
I mean, she didn't even sleep more than 3 or 4 hours a night. She
that's right.
spent 5 or 6 hours in meditation. You want to expand
That's
upon that?
right. That's right. Well, Sri Kaleshwar talks about this. He outlines this, and I talk about it in The Secret Life of Mother Mary. And then I saw it echoed in a biography about her, but by a Christian mystic or what have you.
Oh.
Um, yeah, there were parallels and echoes of what Sri Kaleshwar had reported, and I thought, oh my gosh, okay, well that's very interesting validation. But yeah, like Sri Kaleshwar's version of it is she slept from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Then she woke up. Then she did talking with the angels, essentially a form of meditation. She was probably singing with the angels, a form of mantras. And then it was in the Christian tradition, it said that she was weaving. But I realized, okay, I don't think she was just spinning thread and making fabrics. I think
No.
that weaving was something else that she was involved in at that time. What is this inner weaving, right? She might have been unifying her two polarities, because that was an ancient practice of the Essenes. The
Mm-hmm.
the bridal chamber was something that they went through in order to unite aspects of self and come into that integrated wholeness. So maybe her weaving, had to do with that. And certainly prior to the birth of Yeshua, that weaving might have been a practice that she was doing regarding her own eggs, her own DNA, so that when it came to showtime, she knew the steps of what to do. Okay, so these are all just really interesting possibilities that we start realizing when we look at these details from just a slight angle off, right?
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. Like, you were having some of that experience when you were first hearing some of this material with me talking to presumably
Yeah.
Regina Meredith, right? On Gaia TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Regina's show. Yeah. Yeah. It just lit me up. It's like someone just plugged me in and I went, oh, there it is. And I just connect. It's like I literally energetically just connected to it,
Yeah.
and it expanded me in a way. It almost opened me up because it was an activation when I heard
That's
it.
right.
It
I'm
just
honored
opened
to
me
be
up.
part of it, Heatherleigh. I'm honored to be a part of that activation. We never
Oh
know what's
yeah. You
happening.
never
And
know.
you just were waiting for that timing. And it was like, boom, here are my
Yeah.
codes, my instructions.
Yeah. And I saw the title of the show and I'm like, oh, Mary, because I thought there was nothing special about Mother Mary, right?
Yeah,
So I almost didn't watch the show because I'm like,
I
oh, it's
know.
going to be a religious show.
That's right. I know she was been made to sound and be so boring. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't really
Subdued.
want to have anything to do with it, for many, many
Yeah.
years. And I talk about that in The Secret Life of Mother Mary. And it's just like, it was just slowly over time as I started doing ancillary research in other places that were exciting to me, like ancient Greece and their goddesses and their priestesses. And then
Yeah.
I started realizing divine birth was a real thing. And then all of a sudden, boom, I was just able to go from the ancient Greek priestesses to, of course, Mother Mary, and then like peer in at a much deeper level and then start uncovering all of this other stuff about her. So that's what led me down a path. And then of course working with her personally. That's been another aspect. It has not just been an intellectual process for me.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I came back from Egypt. I went to Egypt this year and I didn't know I was even going to go.
Oh wow.
It was a very spontaneous trip. I didn't know why I was going. I
Wow.
didn't know anything about the temples or the goddesses. I had no knowledge whatsoever. And I was a little bit apprehensive because I wasn't sure who Isis and Hathor and
Right.
these people were. Were they safe? Was
I know
this a
they're
safe
formidable.
practice?
I know they're formidable
Yeah.
beings, right?
Yeah. And so I had no idea what I was doing there, but I was activated as I went through all these temples, and we went in the same order that Yeshua went in through for his initiation. And
Wow.
as I was
I know.
going through this, I started to wake up a little bit. And when I got home, I was listening to your book totally by accident.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
was listening to the Anne book,
Yeah.
Anne, the grandmother of Jesus.
Yeah. Claire Hart song.
And yeah, and I hadn't even finished it by the time I got through the trip. So I didn't even know what the magic was that I was witnessing. And
Wow.
when I got home, I went into a fever, a very bizarre low grade fever. And as I was in this fever, I was downloading and being activated all
Yeah.
of this energetic frequency from the temples, from
Yes.
Isis, from Hathor, from Mother Mary, from the Magdalenes. I mean, it was just pouring in.
Oh
And
my
when the fever broke, I just snapped out. It
God.
wasn't like an illness. When you come out of a fever, you feel sick, it takes a while. I just snapped out of it and I just hit the ground running. And I was
Well,
like, oh my God, it was the most intense activation I'd ever been
of
through.
course. Major
And
initiation.
then Mother Mary started working with me. And when I had a client session come up, which I'm usually working with the canine spirit guides, Mother
Yeah.
Mary came through.
Blessed be.
So
Blessed be.
I had
It's-
never engaged with her before that, and so all of these pieces just came together, and your book was instrumental in all of this.
oh,
And
blessed be.
I,
So happy.
yeah,
So happy.
I listened to it yesterday to get ready to get the
Mm.
frequency downloaded for the interview, and I asked myself, where was I when I listened to this the first time? And I had this flashback of when I was cruising down the Nile River and I was watching all these villages go by. That's where I was when I was listening to your book.
Oh my gosh. I'm so happy to have
Yeah.
been in Egypt with you.
Yeah.
I haven't actually been there, but clearly you are
Oh,
following.
really?
No, clearly you are following your inner guidance and your
Yeah.
path, your instructions, and you're putting yourself in the right places at the right time. That's an
Yeah.
extraordinary story of initiation for you and downloads.
Oh, it was
Amazing.
incredible. So I was like, oh, I've got to have her on my show. I
Oh,
think we actually
wonderful.
scheduled while I was in Egypt.
Yep, blessed be. Oh,
Yeah, we got our
fabulous.
schedules together. So I
Oh,
really want to kind of dig into the practice of the divine birth. Is that what you refer to it? I
yes.
know that because
Yeah.
this was something that was taught. This was a real scholarly technique that only certain people were able to embody. You want to talk about that?
That's right. Yes. Um, I'm hearing a lawnmower, but hopefully if it gets louder, I'll close the window. But
Oh, all
anyway,
right.
yes, so divine conception. You know, when I actually spoke with Claire Hartsong for the first time, I spoke with her once, well, a couple of
Ah,
times, but then I met her. We were chatting. It was so strange because, again, I got led, quote, by accident to her
yeah,
anagram
yeah,
of her Jesus book. And I just rifled through it. I really have never read them because I wanted to keep my oracle space clear and, not too influenced, but I totally respect her work.
yeah.
And I read there, and then she voiced to me over the phone, she said, well, yes, these were light conceptions. And I was like, oh my God, boom. Yes, of course, because I had written about that in my first work about divine birth called The Cult of Divine Birth in Ancient Greece, which
Yeah.
is through, you can get that on Amazon. That's like all the real super duper ancient references in Greece and a little bit beyond for this phenomenon. But I talk right about how sometimes divine conception was accompanied by or preceded by a flash of light or light coming from the moon or a star or something like that. There are these various
Yeah.
stories. So Mother Mary and all of these divine birth priestesses, you had to really be schooled and trained in your own energetic physiology to be
Mm-hmm.
able to do this. So this was um, a very deep kind of training that would have been passed down in lineages,
Mm-hmm.
and it would have required training, or let's say the reactivation of memories. We can talk about training as that of how to do this, but light was a major component. And what does that mean? I mean, it is, yes, connecting with that inner Sophia light that is the elixir that sparks something into being, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it is connected with the star realms. So these women, and Mother Mary especially, were very much connected with the star realms and what they were doing. They were working directly with the star realms. And one of the major star systems that was connected and associated with this was the Pleiades. So,
Yeah.
Mother Mary, because we know that the seven sisters of the Pleiades are seven of the star beings who came to Earth from the Pleiades and in virgin fashion seeded lineages of humanity. That's a whole
Ooh,
other story.
that's that's another
That,
conversation.
okay, that's another conversation.
Yeah.
And that's expanding and growing for me as I get more information.
Wow.
So, Mother Mary was working directly with the Pleiades, and the only hints we get of that are that she ate like a dove when she was in the temple. Well, the dove is a reference to the Pleiades. Of course, she ate like a dove. She was like one of those dove priestesses, right? The dove mothers.
Yeah.
And then we see it in her crown of stars, which is telling us, oh, yeah, she's in connection with the star nations, the star realms that, of course, Native Americans have known all, since the beginning.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then in her work with Archangel Gabriel, in the conception, He was like a messenger. He was like affirming, okay, yes, it's done now, right? It's done. And you've done it. So she was working with these interdimensional beings. She was working with these light beings, these astral star nation consciousnesses and mothers, right? The light interface, she was working with heat, inner heat and flame within. Again, some kind of weaving process, because it was said that she was weaving at the time of this conception. What this was, we can imagine, her working to weave light into matter, light into matter. What an amazing high level adept to do that, and then spark her ovum alive, fertilize it at the same time. So she probably also was working with the sounds, sacred sounds, be it mantras, or other kinds of light language frequencies. These are some of the technologies that I talk about in the mystery tradition of miraculous conception as to what she was doing. All right. And so, I know I'm just getting the little hit that I know that you and I are going to talk about Mother Mary today, and as an active star mother with us now. But what I'm talking about are unveiling some of the artifacts of her history that have been suppressed that we need to know about, because we need that information in order to know what's possible for us today. It's not just, oh, isn't that interesting? Um, that's all well and good, but what does it have to do with me? Well, all of these pieces of information are like you, Heatherleigh, opening up portals in your knowing so that you can activate certain energies within yourself should you want to.
Yeah. Well, and to me, she was much more advanced than anybody I know within her spiritual development, but it just shows us where we can go with it, like what we can aspire to be. We're starting at maybe ground zero for some of us, but this is where our souls are trying to go,
That
right? This
is
is where our
absolutely
soul
the
wants to
point.
go.
It's absolutely the point because, as I've been saying a lot lately, Mother Mary is not about you figuring out how to be her or be like her. She is trying to help you figure out how she is already you within you,
Mm-hmm.
because that is your divine angelic self. She's trying to hold up the mirror to who you actually are so that you can awaken and remember who you actually are, that you are a part of this, we might call it the Mary's lineage. You are a part of the Magdalene lineage. You are a part of the Sophia lineage of light, which is in all peoples, all beings, maybe by different names, but there it is. So
Yeah.
they are unlocking all of our doors in our DNA. They are activating us. They are showing us who we are and what's possible when we align with that and really get this going within ourselves. Who we are as individuals, and then who we are as a collective of people awakening like this. Like, oh my gosh, what is the new earth going to look like when a bunch of people are walking around who have had initiations and are functioning more and more of the time at higher levels?
Yeah. Oh, the world would change instantly.
Yes, it would, and I mean, we
That's why.
we're yeah, we're all here. That's why I have the Mary and Magdalene Priestess training, which is going to be enrolling. It's enrolling now. It starts in September. It's a 6-month program because I am giving women everything I know and then some, because this is like an evolving learning for myself each year as I do it. Everything I
Yeah.
know to fly open those doors within the DNA, the
It's
intellectual
amazing.
knowings, the practices, okay, the ceremonies to get into the altered state, the open state. We work with cacao, which is a very lovely heart opener, mind opener,
Mm-hmm.
and helping people access that Maryhood within, that Magdalenehood within, that is not connected with any religion. It is the
Right.
esoteric stream of womb wisdom, heart wisdom, and seeing. Okay.
Yes. And that's so, I just love the fact that when I learned of your work, the most the most heartening part for me was that she was a mystic.
Yeah.
She was a spiritual.
Yeah.
She wasn't I hate to keep saying it, but she wasn't religious.
No, she wasn't
She
religious.
was spiritual. Like,
She was, if we would call her Essene, and that's like a version of spirituality that's just very esoteric. It's neither
yeah,
Judaism nor Christianity, nor,
right.
it's a perennial knowledge stream that was connected to the star wisdom, the earth wisdom, the knowledge of plants that could awaken our consciousness, all of that. So, then later these things got codified into Gnosticism, Judaism, this, that, the other thing. But originally, these were very esoteric practices that were aimed at keeping the divine angelic human awake.
And that's
Okay.
why it was such a threat, too.
Yes, as the clamps and the veils came down from certain negative forces uh, dealing with the planet, yeah, those as the veils got thicker, our dimensionality got thicker. Um, those remaining, awake societies and cultures and peoples were all dealt with. Okay, so you have the massacres of various groups, the Cathars, the Native Americans, all of these people around the planet who held the ancient codes were systematically massacred, traumatized, re-educated. And you know, that's what we're all realizing, the level of assault that we've been under. And the Marys, the Magdalenes, Yeshua, this whole Sacred Sophia Christos family knew this. You can read this in the Gospels, the Gnostic Gospels. They knew, they called these forces archons. They were coming in to help us with this because they knew that the rug had been pulled over our eyes, and they were like, this is a travesty on planet Earth. We've got these essentially divine angelic beings who are being completely hoodwinked and put into levels of suffering that are heinous, and we want to help. So, they have been coming to the planet, and probably other groupings, the Pleiades themselves, have been coming to the planet to try to help out. And we are at this critical time now. And so the Marys are a really great resource. The Magdalenes are a great resource. Yeshua and maybe the lineage of male Christic men is a really great resource. We just have to open to them, call upon them, say, you in your highest, most esoteric, deep level, please come to me. Begin teaching me, begin showing me, begin healing me, begin awakening me. Help me to become one who assists with the awakening of humanity.
Yes. The great silencing of humanity, too. That was another awakening I had. I don't know which book it was I was reading it, and I didn't realize that the Magdalenes had held in so much. It had really hurt them to keep quiet, to keep
Yeah.
silent who they were and what they did, as far as the priestesses that they were, and their ability to assist with Jesus, Yeshua, to keep quiet so that they weren't persecuted, they weren't
I know.
killed, and they could stay on earth and do their job. And I
Yeah.
didn't realize how that had been transferred down the genetic line. I just thought it was something I was reading in a book, and I read that and I thought, that's interesting. I never thought that my unwillingness to speak, to want to hide, to need to be quiet and not say who I was, to not want to know who I was ran so deep that it came from the Magdalenes. And then when I put the book down and I went to meditate, all of a sudden this massive pain came erupting out of me in the middle of the meditation. I ended up prone on the floor, pounding my fists in the floor, and I had no idea what brought it on. It just came erupting out of me. So we're all carrying pieces of this.
We are. Yeah,
And
that's another
that's what's
major.
so important to know.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of people, and especially women, have that fear of speaking out. They
Yeah.
have a memory, and if they don't have a direct memory, there's like an encodement. I call it the taboo threshold
Uh-huh.
that's been put out there. It's an unconscious threat program that if you speak this or if you say just too much of that, you will be targeted, attacked, taken down, and all sorts of things will happen to you, and then you'll die. So,
Yeah. A brutal death.
a brutal death. But here's the thing now, there are so many people opening up. We're like ants, they
Mhm.
can't even keep track
Mm-mm.
of all of us. And we're all moving to and working with the light now. So there's less, they don't even know where to aim their, their weaponry. And so, it's safer now to
Mhm.
speak, actually. It's a good time to be speaking on the planet
Yeah.
and awakening ourselves and helping others to awaken. Yeah.
To be ourselves, to remember who we are and why we're here and how powerful we are. And then that brings
Right.
us into your work on the Holy Womb
Yeah.
Chakra. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that.
The Holy Womb Chakra, right? Well, as alluded earlier, Mary was able to do these tremendous processes of divine conception and then divine rebirth of Yeshua by virtue, in part, of the practices she did in this and probably other lifetimes, which had to do with these sacred mantras. So, mantras are series of syllables that you repeat, ideally 108 times using a mala to count, right? And there's a whole system that Sri Kaleshwar, the late Hindu saint, retrieved from what he calls the ancient palm leaf manuscripts of India and beyond. And he says that Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, and others worked with these mantras, worked with these sacred diagrams known as yantras, worked with all the philosophical principles, and actually contributed writings to some of these manuscripts as well, which is fascinating. So he coalesced these 8 or so mantras in one of the systems called the Holy Womb Chakra system, and he would teach them to people. I got trained through his student, Cindy Lindsay. I was certified in teaching this, and I actually offered that as a class through Seven Sisters Mystery School.com. So, people can take a look at that website because this is a real living, breathing, fabulous process and practice. It takes a little focus and concentration to get going, but once you have it and you've committed to it, it's all about clearing the womb, opening the womb, and empowering the womb to be able to accomplish these various things that Mother Mary did through our conception of children, through our uh, creative work, through the healing work that we do, once we have a cleared womb, and through then helping others to clear their wombs and develop and develop and develop. So this is a very doable practice, and I've gone through this charging of the mantras, as Kaleshwar called it, and I had really remarkable things happen in my life. I would say, certainly huge synchronicities, and one that very much felt like a miracle, a healing that I very much attribute to the work with these mantras. So people are able to give birth to what Kaleshwar called a divine child by virtue of using 2 of the mantras, one of them in sacred union, as the couple is in sacred union, and then the other mantra the woman practices when she's pregnant. Okay. So that engenders a divine child. And apparently, these children are definitely of a higher vibration. They have remarkable capacities. And Cindy Lindsay and the Divine Mother Center in Laytonville, California, are really more repositories for this type of information and testimony about these children. So, but on the very practical level, this holy womb clearing can be used to clear heartbreak, to clear the energies of previous lovers and partners, to experience womb healing and other kinds of physical healing, to find
And
a
the
soulmate,
collective womb too.
the collective, you're clearing a lot, to find a soulmate. That was an experience that I had with it.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah. And many other things, including clearing the mother line, because there are processes in that system of working with your mother. Yes, your mother,
Mm-hmm.
whether she's
Yeah.
alive or not alive, to come to reconciliation, to peace. And as you do that, you send the healing back all the way through your ancestral line. So I'm giving a lot of information here in
Yeah.
very encapsulated form, but I just want people to know what's possible and what's available to them.
And that's available in today's age that we
Yes,
can do right now.
right now. Go to sevensistersmysteryschool.com,
Yeah,
get that Holy Womb Chakra
go check
teaching
it out.
class, and come to my Mary and Magdalene Priestess training. Cultivate yourself. If you're feeling the pull and the call from the Marys, um, there's a page at sevensistersmysteryschool.com. Take a look. It gives you all the information about the program, including a free activation, the Mary and Magdalene womb heart activation, which I highly recommend if you just even want a little taste of this and go no further, right? Just do
Yeah.
that. So, I'm mentioning these things because I want people to know that our conversation, again, is not just a historical foray. It's really talking
Right.
about what's accessible today, how people can get busy, get active with themselves at much deeper levels than ever before.
And did you mention, because I know I read this in your book, but did you mention just now that she actually used her womb to resurrect Jesus?
Oh
Did you
yes,
mention that?
I believe we were talking about that earlier on, where would have she would have had Jesus taken from the cross, and then using the Parakaya Pravesh and the Atmakandana Yoga to mantras along with this to draw back together his scattered soul parts. This was a high level yoga, as Sri Kaleshwar talks about. Um, and that was really what the resurrection was. Mother Mary working in tandem with Yeshua, while Mary Magdalene and other women were holding space and prayer space for this.
Ah.
They were
So
working
this is not yoga as in an exercise. It's more like a meditative state.
That's right. It's a knowledge based practice and tooling that could involve sound technology. It could involve,
Weaving. So
visualizations, right? That
yeah.
weaving visualization. It certainly involves a deep level clearing and activation of the body through these practices, and the philosophical understandings that go along with it, and the capacities to work across the veil that then get developed, right? Work with the star realms, work with the angelic beings. Because Kaleshwar points out that all the mantras are strings of bijas or bijakshras, strings of syllables. Each one is like an angel, is an angelic resonance, like a piece on the xylophone. Okay. And so when you put these mantras are a string of syllables arranged in different formats, right? So dim ram, mama kama chakra, prakshalana avaham. That's like a series of music, a musical sequence that calls in different angels, all of which are connected, each one with a syllable. So they're like, oh, hark, let's get together, angelic group, and let's go to that person's womb and clear her womb out. And men can actually do this process too, etc. So there's so much to it, but I'm just trying to give the
Yeah.
fragrances and the little flicks of opening to help
Yeah.
people.
It's amazing. It's amazing what's truly possible
Yeah,
that it's been hidden from us,
I know.
for so long, and it's coming out now.
It is.
Everything's just,
It's a critical time on Earth.
yeah,
It really, we can all feel it, and we can feel
yeah,
that in good ways, and we can feel that in challenging ways. All right.
right,
As of this
right.
filming, like, if we didn't think things could get any more intense, well, they're getting more intense, and we're
Yeah.
feeling it personally, emotionally, physically, familially, community wise,
Hmm.
countrywide, globally.
Yeah.
And, we just want to cry uncle, like, stop twisting my arm.
Yeah.
But, I was talking earlier to another group about, well, there are ways to manage that and work with it. And part of it is by calling in the Marys and just working with them in soothing capacities, which is also part of the Mary and Magdalene Priestess training, because a lot of the audios that I do with people are for the soothing, the healing, as well as the skill development, because we just need to be coping right now. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much to trigger us.
Yeah.
I'm sure you just sit down with any given person and ask them, what's been going on lately? Oh my God, it'll throw your hair, right?
The triggers. Yeah. Everybody's so triggered these days. There's a lot to get to be triggered by, actually,
There's a
too.
lot to be
So, I
triggered
mean,
by. And
I,
it's it's because of a vibration that's happening on the planet right now, like,
hmm,
and then it
yeah,
manifests like, oh, a war over here, or, oh my gosh, this person has that illness, or,
yeah. You just
mercy,
gotta,
mercy.
you gotta stay out of the triggers, stay in the higher vibration. I can't even watch TV anymore.
No, I don't.
I
I
just
just
stay
don't
in my
look
own
at
bubble.
I don't watch the news
No.
because, that is the playground of the
Hmm.
archonic forces to come through, whether the human beings who are doing the news and everything consciously know it or not, they are conduits.
Hmm.
And media visuals on the screens is a powerful way to affect people,
Yeah.
and often
Program
in
people.
negative way and program
Yeah.
negative ways. So
Yeah.
I just don't even go there. I'll take a look and be like, look at what they're up to now. Okay, bye bye.
Yeah.
Just for me to be informed, like, what's the latest, and I can
Yeah.
just see the shenanigans immediately.
Yeah.
And so I just stay focused on the work that's going to be helping that.
Yeah.
I don't need to hear all of that. It's not going to help me in my work. And I know what I need to do
Yeah.
as an antidote to all that, really.
You got to stay in your lane and focus on what you came here to do and stay alive.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And keep having fun with it too, because it can be exultant. I mean, you've had amazing experiences that sometimes are intense, but they're also fascinating,
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
can have these bliss states and these joy states that are part of it. It's not just all hard work.
Right.
It's really all about achieving the inner Eden, right? The inner
Yeah.
Lemuria state. That's what they're
Yeah.
all about. They're like, yeah, this is not about coming and being, nuns and all that stuff, working our
Yeah.
fingers to the bone. And it's about living Eden within. That's
Yeah.
what the Marys are helping to restore us. And that's why also they are very much connected with the fairy realms,
Oh,
because the nature realm is is that Edenic paradise. And so it's an environmental movement, it's a spiritual movement. It's like everything is connected,
everything. Everything is
right?
connected. I know, and
Yeah,
that's a whole nother conversation I want to have with you as well.
I
the
know the
whole the
fairies
whole fairy realm.
and other things that are connected to Mother Mary, right?
Oh my
That
goodness.
seem like the stuff
Yeah,
of
there's
fiction, but
so much.
take a second look. Yeah,
It's so deep and it's so all interconnected, and that's what's so magical about it for me. Nothing is very far away, really.
no, no, it's all interconnected, it's all magical, nothing is very far away, it's accessible to us, and it can just start in very simple ways with connecting with our breath, relaxing in our bodies, opening
Yeah.
the conversational field to the Marys, for example.
Oh, yeah. And be prepared for when they come through. It's
That's right.
amazing.
Yes, it's here to enhance your life.
Mm-hmm. To
Yeah,
bring the joy in your back to your life, the
bring the
true
joy back.
love connection. Yeah, it's
Yeah, beautifully
incredible.
put, Yeah,
Marguerite, we could go on
I know.
forever and ever, and I feel like I didn't get through half the questions I had for you.
Wow.
But everybody check out her webpage. Give it to them again, Marguerite.
Yes, it's Seven Sisters Mysteryschool.com, and the seven is written out Seven. And basically, anything you want to know or get connected with is there. The free womb heart activation with the Marys. Um, you can find out more about the Mary and Magdalene Priestess training, which is enrolling right now. And also, if that's a bridge too far, but you do want to be connected in with my evolving teachings, we have the Inner Sanctum Temple, which is a monthly experience, very reasonably priced, where I'm doing teachings and readings and leading people through experiences with the Marys every month, 3 times a month. Plus, you get access to almost my entire back library. So, go check it out. We've consolidated down to what is really essential for people, and these are 3 different ways that you can get a taste and see if there's something there to help you in your life.
That all sounds so amazing. You guys check it
Yeah.
out. I want to take all of them. I want to
Okay.
do all of it.
All right.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us, Marguerite. I know that you are a busy woman. Thank you for taking the time out to share with us all of your wisdom and your gifts and your knowledge. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. It's just been a pleasure to be in conversation with you. And blessings to everybody listening and watching. Mwah.
Absolutely. All right, beautiful soul. Thank you so much for watching today. And thank you, Marguerite, once again for joining us and sharing all of your wisdom about Mother Mary. The world needs that right now. And don't forget, if you're enjoying my show, come back for the next episode with a talented spiritual guest or channeled frequencies from the canine spirit guides. And if you're looking for more, check out my webpage, heatherleighstrom.com. And don't forget, elevate your frequency and transform your reality. Love ya.
Canine Spirit Guides, The Healing Power of Man's Best Friend by Heatherleigh Strom. We've always suspected dogs are magical angels from God. In this groundbreaking book, you'll discover the specific divine gifts our canine companions really possess as they facilitate our healing, elevate our awareness, and expand our consciousness. Man's best friend has their own spirit guides, which is why they appear in our lives just when we need them most. This award-winning book, Canine Spirit Guides, The Healing Power of Man's Best Friend by Heatherleigh Strom, is available on Amazon.com and HeatherleighStrom.com. Get your copy today and begin your journey.